What's up, y'all? Welcome back. It is the KVJ After the Show podcast here for Wednesday. Brought to you by Bud's Chicken and Seafood.
Oh, yeah. That cod rocks the bod.
He's running with the slogan.
I am running with the slogan. I talked to Philip yesterday. He loves it.
Oh, I'm sure he does, huh?
He does.
He does.
The cod that rocks your bod. They're pushing their seafood stuff right now.
Okay.
But that does not mean you still can't go and get the chicken tenders and the corn fritters and try that with the bird sauce.
Those are all still available.
Of course.
It's that plus the cod that rocks your bud.
So they're going to put on a t-shirt? What are they going to do to... I think if he loves the idea.
I have a meeting with him later on today. We're talking about a couple things. No big deal, but we are in the talks of maybe doing some type of dessert item.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you, power player.
I'm in it.
What kind of dessert? What kind of ideas you bouncing around?
I've already said too much. I like to make it sound like I'm really...
You're so Italian.
I told Philip, I act like I'm really in the know when I go on the air.
I can't tell you anymore. You
But
already know too much.
I will say I really did help make the bird sauce. Some people still don't believe that.
I was there.
Yeah, I was a part of that.
I saw you do it.
Is there a light burnout or something?
I hate those iridescent lights that are overhead so much that I turned them off.
Oh, okay.
Does it look bad with the light off?
Yeah.
It looks bad either way. I mean, it's nothing you can help, Jay Bird. It's just these bulbs. They suck the life out of your soul.
Yeah, they just done. Unfortunately, it's like for the KVJ TV, you got to have the lighting.
They're awful.
No, I hear you.
Hey, such is life. The worst light out there is the sunlight. You ever hold your face up to a mirror in the sun?
The sun is the best light.
Not your face. I'm just but it's unforgiving. It lets you know everything that's wrong with it.
The worst is when you go into a dressing room and they got really great lighting. Oh, I went in. It was the most depressing changing session I ever had. And I got too tight of pants.
Oh.
Don't go if you're feeling fat.
Oh,
Don't.
It was the worst. I looked disgusting.
If you're feeling fat and old, that combo, don't go into those lights.
Don't do it.
Gosh, it was atrocious.
What made you kind of cringe? Was it?
No, it was the lighting and the mirrors, too. Some mirrors, almost like funhouse mirrors that, make you look, hey, okay, all right, I look pretty good. But no, it was bright, and they were, just very exact. If anything, it made me look larger.
I've got two.
Disgusting.
I got two places that I get dressed in. One is where it hides everything, so I usually get ready in that one. And then there's a light in my downstairs bathroom. It doesn't hide a fucking thing.
It's horrible. Horrible. So let's talk about pancakes.
Yeah.
I saw this list yesterday was IHOP's National Pancake Day. So nice of them to name a National Pancake Day for themselves.
They give you a free short stack, though, when you go in there on that day, so it's kind of awesome.
It's not bad. Not bad. Yeah, I'd recently heard somebody said go to Pete's Place. I was looking at this list here from the Palm Beach Post, and Pete's Place is on there. It's a new place I got to go check. They have a mountain o' pancakes. Someplace, go crazy with it. They're on Forest Hill Boulevard in Green Acres, and they do Almond Joy pancakes. It loads the batter with chocolate chips, and they top the finished cakes with more chocolate chips, chocolate syrup, slivered almonds, and coconuts.
Ooh, that sounds good. There's just one pizza place I get stuff from. It's that Fusion place or the Kachina place over by the Palm Beach Mall.
Yeah, I told you about it.
Yeah, well, they have a Nutella pizza. It's a dessert pizza.
Ooh.
My gosh.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that's what I've been ordering a lot.
I like that whole concept they're doing where you just go down the line and you pick your toppings. You can see them as you're picking them. And it's smaller, customized, hand-tossed little pizzas.
Yeah, that's a big thing now, make it yourself type of thing. I mean, you're not actually making it yourself, but you're telling the dude, I want the tomato.
Like you're looking at it. Like on a Subway, how you point at what you want. It's the same thing. I love that.
Other places they recommend if you want to do the pancake thing, Juno Beach Cafe. They have got there a 54-year-old recipe for Uncle Eddie's pancakes.
Okay, Uncle Eddie, let's get into it.
It's got Nutella, sliced strawberries, powdered sugar, whipped cream, and chocolate sauce. There's in Juno Beach.
There's no way that's not good.
Benny's on the beach. They say if you go there, they've got fresh baked banana bread, French toast stuffed with handmade sweet whipped cream cheese.
Yeah, that's my friend Jeremy Hanlon.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing. He is a different, elevated chef. He is awesome.
I don't know any chefs as my friends. I know some cooks. I got a bunch of friends that are cooks. It's not really a chef, though.
Not as impressive.
I say you can go to The Nook is a good place they recommend in Jupiter on Center Street. Funky Monkey Panky Doos. They say it is chocolate chips, peanut butter, and bananas in those pancakes.
I heard a little bit of a debate from some cooks before that have not gone to culinary, school or training.
Yeah.
And there are some cooks that do have the feeling that they're better in the kitchen than an actual chef. They just don't have that degree. Thoughts, Nikki?
Well, sometimes you will have people that are, underlings that do all the grunt work, and
they're talented.
Your chef de cuisine a lot of times is just the guy that's creating the menu, but the people under him are the guys that are, in the trenches, and sometimes they know just as much. But it's about time. You got to put the time in the kitchen.
But what if there's a dude that's been cooking since he was 17? He never got the paper. But he knows how to cook his ass off, or she knows how to cook their ass off, and they're just labeled as a cook, but they really could be a chef. They just don't have that paper. I think that happens more than you think.
I'm sure it does. And if that guy gets the right setting, sometimes he can turn himself into the chef.
Mm-hmm. Can you call yourself a chef without getting that paperwork? Like, I call myself a cryptozoologist. I don't have the paperwork.
Yeah, you can. I think it's about like how well you cook. And I mean, I saw a movie one time where actually a rat could cook really well. So, I mean,
that was a cartoon.
That was Muppets Take Manhattan.
Ratatouille?
Ratatouille.
Oh, okay. It's in that one, too.
Ratatouille.
But it is possible. One other pancake suggestion from the Post, Kiki's Breakfast Cafe in Wellington on Forest Hill. Yeah, they say they do a lot of French toast, and a lot of people love the French toast. In fact, that blew away pancakes and waffles today. And I thought the argument you could make for waffles is that it's got the groove so it can fit more syrup in there.
The waffles, to me, is almost like the candy corn of the three. Just a little bland, a little... Yeah, you can doctor it up, but it ain't no pancake and it ain't no French toast.
I feel like an animal when I have a waffle because I have a special way of eating it. I don't use a fork and I don't use a knife. I kind of rip it like it was like a tortilla. And then I dip it in butter. Rip and dip. Rip and dip. Is that rude?
As long as you're not double
Look who
dipping.
you're talking to. Anybody here is going to say it's rude?
I have my own little butter. I have my own waffle. I love to rip and dip, and it's just how I love eating a waffle. But if you eat it like that in public, people look at you funny.
A little trick you could do if you want to really spice some shit up. You take some Lego Myegos and you use those as your bread. You make a waffle sandwich out of that, and you can put some cheese on there.
I used to take like a peanut butter and banana, and I put that in a couple of those toaster waffles.
Man, Fat Kev knew how to do it.
Yeah. I did that not even too long ago. I think when I was bulky Kev, I even used to do that. Get a big peanut butter infusion before going to the gym and doing some powerlifting.
Want to be Eggos, though?
No, they're like the whole grain.
Oh, that's bullshit. Does not count.
Whatever they were, whole grain, and then you put some peanut butter in there, some banana, and then you go. And
no grain, no pain. You guys ever say it in the gym? No grain, no pain.
not once.
All right, good.
No.
That's the dumbest thing he's ever heard.
I agree. I'm glad people aren't saying it. Some health dick said that. No grain, no pain.
Are you sure
I
about
don't
that?
know that they
I don't
did.
know that they did.
Guarantee it. At least in the history of time, someone has said that other than myself.
Well, if they are, please stop. A couple of emails here. One about what was on my mind today, and that is the fact that the CIA either is or has the opportunity to seriously hack into your lives. And I used to always kind of have the tone of like, why would they? And the movie Snowden opened my eyes and kind of gave me the reason, saying that if it's like the Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of separation, you may not even realize, but the CIA or FBI or whomever it might be, Homeland Security, you may be 3 degrees of separation away from somebody they deem that could possibly be a threat.
A terrorist.
Right. And
Someone who's possibly on the list.
so they're trying to see, okay, can we make those connections? So they start with an individual. They look at their family. Immediate family's one. Then they could look at boyfriends, girlfriends, or business associates, or maybe there was a purchase that was made to somebody there. And so before you know it, when they go 3 degrees out, which oftentimes they at least go 3 degrees out, you could totally see yourself being on the fringe. You have no idea. Your own associations, you'd probably be surprised. All the people with shady pasts that you are only 3 degrees of separation. All it takes is you have a friend who has a friend who has somebody shady.
Wow.
And you would be within the scope of the CIA. And they would see reason to hack into your phone, your smart TVs, listen to what you got going on, and be like, okay, what's happening there? The more alarming part that I had brought up today was just hackers themselves oftentimes are almost at par with our own government. They're trying to stay one step ahead of hackers. These people can do pretty much the same thing. So to me, in my mind, if the government can do it to you, you bet hackers could do it to you as well.
Those hackers go renegade, and they do whatever the hell they want. Anonymous scares the shit out of me.
Well, the hackers don't care about, what you're doing and if you're naked. They just want your information. That's what's scary, so they can get into your bank, your credit cards.
Yeah, but
financially ruin you.
You don't think they're in the history of hackers? They're not also whackers. They're looking for some pictures.
I think they call it hack and whack.
I think they do.
Well, I think what's happening and what you're going to see, to me, in my opinion, this is my prediction. In the next couple of years, if not the next year, you're going to see a lot of blackmail and people running hostage on you that are hackers that will either get something on you or make you believe that they have something on you. Somebody had already said today that I think they were getting emails about Ashley Madison. It sounded like they may have opened up an account but never used it, and they felt good about it, that they had never done anything, and they were like going, if you don't we'll take this information your way. You have to sit. And a lot of times the currency of the internet is Bitcoin. And so they'll say you must deposit so many Bitcoin into this account, be untraceable, or we will release this information to who we know who your spouse is or whatever it is.
That's scary.
Can't you say to a blackmailer, though, okay, I'm calling your bluff. Release it. Go for it. And then when they release it, now there's a trail, and it's illegal to blackmail. They're sealing their own fate.
They're good at hiding their tracks. That's the thing, is a lot of these people are good at doing this stuff and hiding. And that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to track down these hackers. But they're so good with the internet that they know how to throw up all these smoke screens and all that kind of stuff, so it's hard to ever track them back. I mean, they're doing this now with small market radio stations. They're going in and they're hacking into their automation and taking the entire station hostage, and they can't do anything about it. They're playing whatever they want, and they're saying you have to give us like $20,000 in Bitcoin if you want to get your radio station back, and they can't do anything about it.
That's crazy.
That's hilarious. Yeah. That'd be kind of cool
They'd have
for
to take
us.
out their entire automation and start from scratch.
Wow.
So a lot of times these small town radio stations now, either they pay the $20,000 or they got to shut down completely and start from scratch. Wow. That's already happening.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. I mean, imagine now this kind of stuff happening to us.
Regular people.
And that's where I'm just saying, I often shrug this off like I'm, so benign, like who would even think about doing this kind of stuff.
But we know
But if you're not living shady or doing anything weird, I mean, what could they get you on? If personally.
Yeah, that's not numbers.
You don't own this station. I mean, yes, it would suck if we got hacked, but you're not, the guy who's going to have to pay the ransom or not pay it.
What if they
Well, I think the thing is what they might do, and this could be the thing, if they can turn it, they might listen for things, and they can get audio, video, whatever you might be doing, and saying, hey, I have a feeling you have somebody in your life, boss, wife, whatever, that wouldn't like what you're doing. So either you deposit these Bitcoins in this thing, or they get all the information.
Do you guys have anything you've done in the last 20 years publicly where if there was video of it and someone was threatening you with some blackmail that you would be actually scared?
Sure.
I like just watching your face, going back and thinking.
Oh yeah, there's a couple of incidents, shall we say, that I would rather not be out there.
Agree with myself. I definitely have some videos out there.
But the thing is, thank God, a lot of that stuff, my crazier stuff, a lot of it happened before camera phones, before smartphones, before we all had smart TVs.
I mean, just some of the stories you guys have told me, if that was out and viral and for people to see, oh yeah, man.
We did some crazy shit.
I know.
I mean, some really wild stuff that, yeah, we're lucky we didn't have camera phones.
I remember I first got on the show, you're with Kevin in Virginia. Damn, those people are hard.
Here's an email from Tatiana. Said, I've been reading the WikiLeaks dump from yesterday, and I'm very disturbed. Most of us have all this type of technology, and I must agree with your earlier statement that information gathered by hackers can be used against us. Think about this. You go to the doctor, and now they use a laptop to enter the information as they talk to you. Number one, there is a camera on the laptop. Number two, hackers may be able to hack in and get that private information and would be able to use it against you, especially if you're keeping your diagnosis private. We rely so blindly on technology that we are giving away our privacy. And that is true. And that's why it's right now, jammers, things for our privacy, that would be a big industry, because I think people, as these kind of things like this WikiLeaks report starts to come out, people are going to start freaking out. And you got two options. We're so dependent upon technology now. You either throw away your technology that you're dependent on, or you go out and spend a ton more money now on all these privacy-getting type things.
Yeah, I heard someone talking, I don't know if they had the technology of it, but one of the things they were saying in the future, what people like hackers would do was go into people's computers and then release the type of porn that they were watching. So if you're watching a weird porn, everyone knows what you're into.
Sure. I mean, that's the kind of blackmail kind of things I could totally see them doing.
And if you're not an open person, you want to keep stuff private, you're probably like, oh shit, no, I'm into this. I don't want people to know.
I'm not into bestiality.
Yeah, or cuckolding. Oh my gosh, what's happening?
Cuckold.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first thing is anybody that's any kind of like politician or whatever, any of those people, they better watch out. And that's why it's so crazy. You know, in the election, it was one person after another was using private servers.
Well,
I mean, if not for just the fact that they don't want you to do it for, security for the government, I mean, do it for yourself.
Especially politicians, where everyone's trying to tear down your credibility and your good name.
Sure,
and then you've got stuff from your past on the computer.
Right. She said, as for a drone on your property, get a signal jammer and jam the signal. Now you own a drone.
Oh.
You got to check that video out, Virginia.
I
of
do
that
have to
woman.
see it.
It's almost shot so well that it does kind of look fake, but these drones have a great looking picture on them.
Pretty amazing. She said, on another note, Kev, if you like the Snowden movie, I suggest the Julian Assange movie, The Fifth Estate. Very interesting. I'm very fascinated with that, Kat. I might have to check that out. Whole thing is just very interesting to me. Talking about conspiracy here. Got this one story, a little bit of a follow-up yesterday, as Jaybird had mentioned, the 99 drug arrests that had happened around Okeechobee Fest. It says here, this is an example of how cops overreach their authority. According to the story, they were pulling people over for, quote, traffic offenses. Then if they, quote, noticed anything unusual about the car, they would bring in the drug-sniffing dogs to detect drugs in the car. This is such an overreach of the Fourth Amendment. I've heard that unscrupulous cops can signal their dogs to react as if they found a scent in the car. This sounds like a massive witch hunt and a way for these poor counties around the festival to enrich their police department and prisons. As you know, prisons are a huge business. I'm against hard drugs 100%. However, I'm much more against overreaching cops that ignore the public's constitutional rights. This is the second year that there have been major drug arrests at the festival. There you go. So maybe the festival should cancel, or artists and the public should boycott next year to send a message to the Orwellian police. Hashtag not cool, you small town police.
Hide your drugs better.
Yeah. So there you go. I don't think they're going to shut that thing down. These music festivals are getting here. They're big money makers.
Oh, they're never going to shut that thing down.
No, and it seemed like it was bigger. From what I saw, it was sold out and seemed to do pretty well, even with the crazy winds. It was doing well. They had a great bill.
They did. They had some really good artists there.
Yeah.
That Kid Rock, who did he perform with? What country dude?
That was at Rib Roundup.
So I watched IRK load up their video,
Yeah.
and in the morning it had like 50 views, and then I refreshed it later on in the day. It was up to like 7,000.
It got picked up. Rolling Stone sent it out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a couple places that picked it up. Yeah, they did a mashup of his song Buy Me a Boat and Kid Rock's Cowboy. So, yeah, that was kind of the big thing. That was great for the Rib Roundup to get that. But then you got Tortuga coming up, too.
Oh, you're saying it wrong. Tortuga.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a big deal. So that's I got some big names in country on that. South Florida's kind of becoming known as a music festival area.
Good. It's better than being known as the meth county or the meth capital of the world.
Yeah, you're right.
It's better, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Nothing much worse.
No, right. That belongs to Independence, Missouri.
Does it? The meth?
Yep.
What do we do? I feel like we have to be the epicenter for something. Is it bath salts?
Like cocaine.
Cocaine, that's true. The cane.
I saw cocaine was on the rise.
Okay.
Yeah, they said the production
Don't
is
call it a
up
comeback.
from 2013. It is kind of a comeback, yeah. I think blow was dipping.
Okay.
Now it's booming back up again.
I remember people making some jokes. They're like, "Oh, people do cocaine. They're stuck in the '80s." I guess it was really big in the '80s.
Oh, yeah,
Coke.
it was. Oh, yeah. Go watch Cocaine Cowboys, baby. You see how big it was. It built Miami.
So it wasn't big in the '90s at all. It just started to die down. What did ecstasy come and kind of?
There were other drugs, but yeah, I mean, it had its heyday. I mean, I think that when you looked, because cocaine was new on the market, people were like, oh my gosh, it blew their minds, literally. And it was such a designer drug. It was so expensive, more than some of the other ones, more glamorous. And it was worth a ton of money. And then, as things are falling in and out of popularity. But yeah, from what I'd read, cocaine is on the rise again in 2016 from 2013.
Someone knows an awful lot about cane.
I do. It fascinates me.
Hey, cocaine does fascinate
I don't know
me
why.
too.
I'm not like heroin. No, it's like dirty and nasty, and I have no fascination. It's so weird. There's some kind of like glamour around. Like if you did instead of cocaine cowboys, if you had heroin honchos, like I'd be like,
No thanks.
But you're right though. Just like the whole story, and I'm not saying I'm fascinated, meaning cocaine. Just the whole story behind it, how it helped build Miami, how
fascinating.
It's
Yeah,
fascinating.
The documentaries on that, Cocaine Cowboys 1, the Reloaded that they have, and Cocaine Cowboys 2. It's I watched it. Griselda Blanco, something you got to check out. I'm just like, wow, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
You need to check out these documentaries, Virginia. You like drama.
I do.
And it's real stuff, and it's in your backyard, literally.
I want to watch that Narcos too.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was just really fascinating. I think what's fascinating about it, it's not necessarily the drug itself. It's the amount of money and power that was tied into it. When you watch Narcos and you're like, he had so much money, billions upon billions of dollars, that he's burying it in fields and trying to make maps where it is because he can't put it in any bank. There's nothing he can do about it. And it was just really fascinating. Like, I think it was right there, Brickell, Avenue. It was just all these international banks started popping up in the early 80s, and it was just to deal with cocaine money. And look at Brickell now.
It was crazy on that
Brickell's
one.
it should be called Cocaine City.
Cocaine.
Well,
town.
the one dude in the Cocaine Cowboys thing, he started off moving tons and tons of weed, and then he got into the coke game as well. But
It was
guys
literally a gateway drug.
guys were making shit tons of money on weed, but they would have to move a ton of it. But yeah, they'd get a plane, fly it.
That was it. You would make a lot more money a lot faster with cocaine. So everybody wanted to do cocaine.
But you're right. There was almost kind of like a gateway from pot to cocaine in the dealer world.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's some fascinating stuff. Talking about the music festival stuff, Flo Rida is going to be playing Sunfest. And I remember when he first got going, we were able to talk to him a couple times. I haven't seen him in a while, but I remember one of the things I was talking to him about was, okay, you're getting all this money and hanger-ons and all that kind of stuff. It's very fascinating. And he was telling me that every single day he gets about 7 different pitches for money, and that was back then.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I had asked him the craziest pitch he had gotten was, I think somebody wanted to start putting doggy doors in elevators or something like that. And I was like, what? Yeah, it was just like, and they wanted him to invest in it and fund it.
You just got to have somebody on staff that all they do is they say no to all this stupid stuff for you so you don't have to.
Because if I was Flo Rida, I would have been like, sweet, dogs and dog doors and elevators? All right, let's talk more.
Why can't dogs just drive cars?
Yeah, maybe that's another investment. Now, I saw this. Apparently, his music producer just sold his home that is near Hialeah, and Flo Rida picked it up. But I couldn't tell because one story almost made it sound like Flo Rida had bought it for him. And the first thing I thought, I'm like going, oh boy, here we go. Flo Rida's buying homes for people. He dropped $1 million on this Miami smart home. It's got 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, fully furnished, 2 pools, gourmet Italian kitchen, 2 jacuzzis, basketball court that's painted with the Miami Heat logo and everything in their colors.
Okay.
It's got blinds, music, lighting, all controlled by smart tablets in each room. It's got privacy walls, an electronic entrance gate, and a 3-car garage. And I think he just bought it for his music producer, guy that also does some other stuff for like Rick Ross. So,
Well, it sounds like a business investment then. If it's the guy that's going to be, helping him make more hits.
no, I guess so.
It'd be like if Jay Bird bought Denny's a house.
Oh, he would,
His
too.
right-hand man.
If I could do it, I'd buy all a house. And I'd buy a house for all of us to live together. It'd be like an estate. If I had $1 billion, I'd buy a big-ass piece of land and then build houses
Compound.
If
on the
you had
house.
money, you would have so many hangers on. Can you imagine how large
No,
his
he
entourage-
wouldn't, because I wouldn't let him.
Yeah, honestly, Virginia is a...
I would be that person that you hired to shut everybody the hell down.
I don't like arguing with
Who
her.
are you going to hire to shut Virginia down?
Yeah, I don't like arguing with her, but man, if it comes to business shit, sick 'em, Virginia. She is
She'd
good.
be your business rep.
You could argue she got the butt chicken and seafood deal done. I mean,
Thank
She
you.
is.
Yeah.
Thank you for the respect.
She's a grinder.
Oh, I give you absolutely. I tell people that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I also say other things too. But.
She's a bitch to work with.
Other people in South Florida, a lot of people were talking about that Casey Anthony interview that she did yesterday. A lot of the audio was out on that. She's living in West Palm with this detective. And he, I guess, did the same thing for her trials he did for O.J. Simpson.
He was an investigator back then.
Yeah, and this is a part that I missed. There were a couple of things she said that were unlikable in this interview. One, she was talking about O.J. Simpson, and Casey Anthony said, I can empathize with his situation. It sounds like one of those parallels is that she believes both she and O.J. were innocent. Which
Okay.
I know you would love this too, because a story out today, O.J. Simpson, they say, is probably going to be free starting in October.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Looks like he's about to get sprung October 1st. They believe that the Nevada Board of Parole is going to say, you done enough time, go ahead.
He's gonna get his own show. Guarantee someone puts him on TV.
You think?
Oh yeah, man. Of course.
Rebuilding OJ, he's going to have an offer. I'm sure, yeah.
Imagine that, rebuilding OJ, and then he kind of, he's not afraid of the limelight. Remember, didn't he come out with that book? This is how I would do it, or this is how I did it.
This is how I would do. If I did,
Yeah.
here's how I would do it.
That's how we do it. It's unbelievable.
I don't think he gives.
It's completely unbelievable.
I think he's got no problem going right back in the limelight.
I mean, I was kind of like looking through the OJ stuff, and boy, I remember what it was. I was watching the special that ESPN had done on that. I still haven't seen the People versus OJ Simpson, but the special that ESPN did on was fascinating. I mean, the tail end before he went to prison, what a shit show his career was. He was doing all kinds of sleazy, just like, whoa. Like, he went from glamour boy doing all these, he was like Mr. Squeaky Clean and doing all these.
He was Norberg from Lethal Weapon,
Yes.
or Naked Gun.
Naked Gun, yeah. And just his image then, and then, boy, before he went in, it was all strip club sleazy, just gross people he's hanging out with and doing all this kind of stuff with. And I imagine when he gets sprung, it'll be back to that. 'cause-
But was he always like that, and he kind of hit it for the camera and all that? Was he always?
Well, I think what happened was the ESPN thing had kind of talked about, I think it was a little bit of the time, too, that he was a black guy that was working into white society. And Los Angeles really was a segregated kind of community. That's what was really
Especially
fascinating.
Brentwood.
Yeah, well, that's
I mean,
what was fascinating
so
at the time.
Squeaky clean.
Well, they ran the parallels to the police and the Rodney King case and some of the other things that had happened, talking about what was happening in Los Angeles at the time that I wasn't aware of because I was too young to understand racial turmoil and all those issues that had happened. And OJ kind of really always was just like, he loved living in this white world. And they accept him, except the white world that was the country club. And you remember Beverly Hills Cop and what that, essence was back in the 80s. Like, he was accepted and treated, and he loved it. He loved being a part of this white society. All his friends were white and everything around there. And then when all these charges happened, it was almost like he was shunned by white society. And it was like, and he had even kind of like a lot of black people had felt like you weren't true to us. And he was trying to get back in the good graces of black people because for a long time they'd felt like, well, we're not good enough to hang out with, was kind of like their approach with it. They had done in the whole ESPN special. And so he really kind of found himself being a man without a country or a race, I guess you could say.
Right.
And so he was just, that was it. He fell down to the dregs of the dregs. As anybody. It wasn't any kind of race. It was just whoever was at kind of the bottom. That's where OJ landed.
The scumbags.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that was kind of it. And that, in a sense, I believe is kind of what got him into trouble with why he's in prison right now with the whole thing. So fascinating story. I mean, you can see why the documentary they had done, The People versus OJ Simpson, I mean, it is an amazing story. Fascinating. to watch all those documentaries about the cat. But yeah, you're right. When he comes out, there's going to be so much fascination around him. He'll have, I don't know. I mean, the Cash Me Outside girl had 7 TV offers.
Oh, he'll have an offer. He'll have offers, and I think he'll take them. Because he's an egomaniac, guys. That have an ego. They want to hear good or bad. They want to just be in the limelight.
Now, what's Casey Anthony's deal? I mean, can she take an offer if somebody offered her something? Because, I mean, right now, people throw out, like, who cares if they're likable if we look like the most despicable people on planet Earth?
I think you start to get, in a way, because she's so unlikable to the point where you're talking about a child and murder.
Yeah.
And I know people are fascinated by the case. I don't think they would want to watch her living her life doing whatever bullshit she's doing because there was a kid involved.
Yeah, so I don't know what that is. I wonder if she's been offered the same. Would anybody offer her, or are they just like going?
Dude, anybody would. Yes, there's some really scummy people
when people
out there.
want to watch it, because I mean, here you would see a woman that's just going on and trying to live for. But I mean, I think what would be fascinating is just how many other people can you say in our society are like completely shunned? I mean, just people in the chat room, because you know Casey lives here. That she often goes to that Flanagan's on Southern. And people don't talk to her. Like, it's just like everybody, she is walking around in society like it's kind of like back in the old days. You hear the Scarlet Letter. Remember that book you used to have to read?
Sure.
She's walking around with that, and to her, it doesn't matter what happened in court. Everyone's like a baby killer. What you did to your daughter, and you knew something, you did something, and people shun her for that. And I mean, if you did a special, that really would be it. You would just see how people don't talk to her in society. Is that fun? Can you watch that?
Side note on that Flanagan's, they have unbelievable egg rolls that've got rib meat in it, and it's something special.
Yeah.
As you were, Kevin.
They do good stuff. Yeah, I don't know that show. It's kind of interesting. You know, what shows work and what shows don't.
I would watch the OJ show before I would watch Casey Anthony's show.
It's because you don't want to support watching a woman that a lot of people
But here
think
you got OJ. I mean,
I know,
OJ,
I know.
a lot of
It's
people
different
would
with
argue.
kids. It's different with kids, man. When it comes to the kid part, and I think that's why. I think people...
And she doesn't know what happened. I mean, how do you not know what happened to your kid for a month? I'll never be able to get past that in my head. Like,
yeah, OJ knows people think he's an asshole, but I think he's okay with owning that. And he's like, okay, I am an asshole. Watch me now. And I think people kind of want to see that. You get a little kid involved and you see Casey, like rebuilding Casey Anthony. As a mom, do you want to see that?
Well, nobody wants to see her rebuilt. People want to see her suffer. That's why that wouldn't be the tone that would work. I mean, I think the only thing, if they ever did anything, it would just be having to show how miserable her life is now and shunned from society. And maybe people will get some kind of gratification saying, well, unfortunately, she didn't wind up in prison where she belongs or on death row, but here she is having to go through life where she is treated like, she's a leper.
I don't know if that show works either, because now she's setting herself up for being a very negative portrayal of her. I think if they did something...
That's probably why there isn't a show about Casey Anthony.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, because what would work? Nobody would watch it. No. But it's interesting how we divide the lines on some of these shows and how some of them work.
You're right.
I think it gets different when it comes to kid stuff. I think anytime a child is involved, I think people... I hope, too, they have a little bit more respect for it.
And there's animals out there, that take the lives of children all the time, and it's horrific, and it's awful. But when you talk about the mother of the child, I mean, mothers are held to a different standard, and we expect them to be the good ones in all of this.
Well, if your mama can't keep you safe, who's going to keep you safe?
Right. This kid was doomed.
That's why in our society it is a weird thing. We vilify mothers who murder their kids more than anything. And there's, several where it has happened, because to anyone with the right mind, you're like, it's unfathomable, and you immediately think, what if my mom would have done that to me? That was the number one person you run to and trust. I'm 43. My mom is still the number one person I go run to. I trust more than anybody on this planet.
The only way I think that show could work with Casey Anthony is if they build it as Casey finally gets honest and she talks about things that she does remember, and there's legit things she's saying. But to me, that's the only thing that could get people to tune in. I don't even know if that works.
Well,
either.
That's the only thing you got from this AP interview. She's not going to give you anything she wants. She's going to say, I don't really remember anything. As far as I know, my daughter drowned, and then then my dad tried to like get rid of the body is basically I think what her line is. And then she said things in that interview that continues to remind you how unlikable she was. Where she said, "I sleep fine at night."
Yeah.
I mean, just even saying that quote, it's like how. I mean, my gosh, if someone took any of my children. You fast forward 9 or 10 years, and you're a changed person, and I can't say that I sleep well at night, meaning that I have no care. The last thought I have every single night is I think about that child.
It's not the time to.
So the first thing I think of in the morning when I wake up, and I'm like, here's another day without them, but make the best of it.
The wrong tone is to act like you give zero fucks. Like,
And that was
I
it.
sleep fine.
That was it. It was a zero fucks kind of comment. People are like going, again, like,
She just played it wrong.
Yeah, again. Yeah, I mean, this is the first time you speak in how many years, and maybe you could have said something that make us, I don't know, forget or rethink it.
She makes herself seem more guilty.
Yeah.
When you say something like, I sleep fine at night, it's like, well, I don't feel bad for murdering. It's not on my guilty conscience.
It fires up your anger all over again and saying, wrong thing to say. I mean, first of all, you sympathize with O.J. Simpson and you sleep fine at night. I mean, those are two headlines that are taken out of that interview.
And then the other thing she said was talking about what Kaylee would be like today, which really pissed me off. Talking about how,
Tell me about that. Why is that? Why does that make you angry?
It just makes me so angry because this little girl will never get to be that
you're
teenager.
like you're confident she took her life.
You took it, so
Yeah.
she can't have that. And now you've got the balls to come say what it would have been like for
Yeah.
her. It just makes me very angry.
No one's
Yeah.
looking at her to be the victim, and that's just what it is.
And no one's gonna. She needs to shut up and stop talking.
Well, I think at this point you heard something, and maybe it was like a chance for somebody to say, okay, is there a change of tone? Or we
No.
get something different? Because it's been a while, and
She
it was
made
just
herself
the same
look
thing.
worse.
It did.
Silence would have been better.
But it would have, yeah. I mean, the whole situation, you're waiting for, okay, maybe there's something that you're like, okay, it's been enough time, maybe I can rethink it. But no, it just it reconfirmed how you felt.
On a different level, though, this isn't murder, but what about someone, is this person shunned everywhere she goes? The doctor that beat up the Uber driver. Kev, I don't know, man. She got death threats. She's been in hiding.
Everybody gets death threats now.
Yeah.
It's just the par for the course.
She got fired. I mean, people really came down on her hard because she was a doctor and she beat up somebody that she shouldn't have beat up. You don't think people?
She had a real bad night. She was nasty, but yeah, I wouldn't shun her.
No.
I know you guys
She'll
wouldn't.
be fine.
I'm talking
she'll work again in medicine. She'll be fine.
I was surprised how harsh the people were
Really?
with her. Yeah.
Kev, if a guy did that to a woman and beat the fuck out of her in front of everybody,
Well, I mean, she was just throwing his shit like on the. Maybe I don't
she
remember
didn't.
the whole thing right.
she beat him. She kicked him. She fucking hit him. She attacked the guy. Oh, it was awful.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I gotta go back and
That's just
relook
it.
at that.
If a guy did that to a chick, I mean, you would never forget that guy's name.
Sure. Yeah. No, she seemed
That's-
like she got a pretty good punishment for it.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering things like that. Mm-hmm. The Chick-fil-A dude, he still can't get a job.
Chick-fil-A dude.
That guy that went through the Chick-fil-A line and was talking about gay rights and gay marriages, and he started yelling at the girl that was just serving the food. He got fired, and then they did another interview. He can't get another job. No one will hire him because he's been virally. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't think I remember that
You
one.
remember this story? It was the guy, he was like a high-powered executive. He had a really good job. And he thought he was going to make a viral video of himself going through the drive-thru at
vaguely
Chick-fil-A.
remember, yeah.
Because Chick-fil-A, hasn't been pro-gay, but they've eased their stance a little bit. They haven't been anti-gay. They've just been kind of silent about it.
Yeah.
Like the whole... The church, the close on Sundays thing.
Yeah.
He went through the drive-thru and started yelling at the poor girl who's just working the drive-thru about how her company doesn't support gay rights.
And she should be ashamed of
She
herself.
shouldn't work there, and they're disgusting.
Yeah.
Remember, he berated
Yeah,
her.
yeah, I
He
do
got
vaguely
fired,
remember, yeah.
and then even within like 2 years, he tried to get another job, and that's what I'm just saying. In
Yeah.
a sense, you're shunned.
Yeah, no, and that's what's happening with our new viral society. In fact, I just saw. Remember that lady that the white chick that said she was black and was working for the NAACP in Washington State?
Yes.
Yeah, they had said like she's almost homeless. She hasn't worked in like 2 years, and she just changed her name. It was Rachel Dolians or something like that. Was her real name. She just changed her name, and she's not backtracking on it either. She's like, look, I can identify with whoever I want. People are like going, you're not a bit black. Like you're.
She changed it to a very Afrocentric name.
Yes.
Like she is
Yeah.
not coming back. She definitely does not want to be white.
Yeah, and hey, if that's for black people to say they're going to take her or not. But yeah, I think she's changed it to try to get a job because no one will touch her, white or black. It doesn't make anybody hire her.
And that's my point. That's just a different type of shunning, and you may not think of it like. But when they go to get a job, that stuff comes right back up. All they got to do is pull up their video, and that's not coming down. That's what that Chick-fil-A guy said. He goes, he got a new job, a really well-paying job. Within 10 days, they found out he was the Chick-fil-A guy, and they go, dude, we got to fire you. This is too much heat. We can't take it.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to probably see a graveyard of these kind of people that have, like, what do they do? Where do they go? They're always going to wear this scarlet letter in society because of their bad moment went viral.
You say that doctor's going to get another job? I don't know if anyone's going to want to deal with that. It was, that was a worldwide story. People in other countries were commenting on that.
But she was
because she was a woman, though, hitting a man. I mean, I hate
Was
that.
she drunk?
No, she was hammered.
She was very drunk.
She called an Uber car, and an Uber car came up, and it wasn't hers. And she got in the wrong Uber car, and then he's like, "This isn't your car," and she wouldn't leave. And then when she got him out, she trashed his car. She kicked him. She punched him.
But if she got to a place where she said, "Look, I had an obvious problem with alcohol," and
I've
she goes
gone
to
to rehab,
and if she's not drinking, and I can see that she's not drinking, and there's like a test you could take or whatever, and be like, "Okay, you realize that alcohol made you an awful person."
She can be redeemed.
Yeah, I would say with that pass, she could have redemption.
And I'm not over here saying she can't be, but I just think it's a challenge when you have that stuff, and it's not going to be an easy, in 2 years you'll be practicing medicine. I think she's in for a long road of bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, now that would make a fascinating show.
Yes.
Taking all these people that have basically been shunned and pushed to the side, and it's like a rebuilding. If you're like a marketing person and you're trying to remake their image and their life, it would have to be a show because they couldn't pay you any money because they got no jobs. But if you took, we've just named 3 that you could have, 3 different series about as you go and try to remake their image, and you get to see them in job interviews and what they got to do to try to convince people, hey, hire me despite this awful viral moment I've had.
Because that girl walks, that's such a popular video. Anywhere she goes, there's a good chance they know who she is. And she doesn't know the reaction they're going to give because people came down on her hard. You can't hit people.
The more time that passes, though, the better it is for you because there'll be somebody new that's a viral outrage.
But that's just the thing about the viral video, though, is once you think one's dead, there's like 11 more videos that pop up and they keep on popping up. I just saw someone retweet that video again of her, and that was a week ago.
It does. That's it. When you think it's all gone, it comes right back again. All righty. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for all the emails. You can send them to us, mail@kvjshow.com. We'll get to your comments coming up tomorrow on the Thursday after the show podcast. Goodbye.
Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.